House of Cards is brought to you by Drizzly, your online liquor store. Available in over 95 cities across North America, Drizzly offers a huge selection and competitive pricing with a side of personalized content. Now there's no need to leave the house. Get alcohol delivered in less than an hour by Drizzly. Head on over to drizzly.com and order today. And now get $5 off your first order of $20 or more when using promo code DRINK19 at checkout. Shop beer, wine, and liquor with drizzly.com.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls,
You're listening to House of Cards.
Today, the game is different.
I want to gamble.
Gambling is a very serious business.
Is that clear?
Welcome to House of Cards. Dave Weishuttle with you here, deep from the swamps of Jersey. We have a great show coming up for you. You know, people who gamble on sports are always looking for that edge, whether it be by looking at the injury reports, home field records, weather conditions, anything that could give them a little advantage. Our guest this week is taking that to a whole new level. His name is Simon Chokwisky, and he wrote the book called Gambler's Dharma, Sports Betting with Vedic Astrology. And you can imagine from the title of the book, he uses astrology and star charts to help determine the outcome of a game. And you know what? He's really good at it. And he's going to go through all his methods of picking the right team at the right time, all according to the stars in the sky. He's a really interesting guy with unusual methods that actually work. And then we're going to have a mailbag where we answer your questions. So stick around. We'll be right back with more House of Cards. House of Cards is brought to you by Drizzly, your online liquor store. Available in over 95 cities across North America, Drizzly offers a huge selection and competitive pricing with a side of personalized content. Now there's no need to leave the house. Get alcohol delivered in less than an hour by Drizzly. Head on over to drizzly.com and order today. And now get $5 off your first order of $20 or more when using promo code DRINK19 at checkout. Shop beer, wine, and liquor with drizzly.com.
Yeah, you, come here. Haven't you heard? We don't need to hide anymore.
Now, we can shop privately for adult products at adamandeve.com. They've got massage oils, lingerie, and lots more we can't mention here. Use offer code SPICE404. They'll give you 50% off almost any one item, 3 free DVDs, free mystery gift, and free shipping. That's 50% off, free shipping, and more. Private shopping starts at adamandeve.com.
When it comes to online sports betting, PlaySugarHouse.com offers players one of the best experiences in the state of New Jersey. They offer live in-game betting on sporting events worldwide, moneyline bets, point spreads, prop bets, play-by-play bets, and many more. All at PlaySugarHouse.com, your new home for sports betting in New Jersey. Take advantage of one of their 12 easy deposit methods to get in on all the action. And now when you sign up at PlaySugarHouse.com using our promo code HOUSE, they'll match your first deposit up to $250. Must be 21 years or older and in New Jersey to place a bet. Terms and conditions apply. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER.
I wanna hold them like they do in Texas, please. A little gambling is fun when you're with me, I love it. Russian roulette is not the same without a gun. And baby, when it's love, if it's not rough, it isn't fun. But I'll get him hot, show him what I've got. I'll get him hot, show him what I've got. Can't read my, no he can't read my poker face. She's got to love nobody. Can't read my, no he can't read my poker face. She's got to love nobody. Pop, 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 poker face, pop, pop, poker face. Ma, 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 pop, 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 poker face. Guys, pop, poker face. Guys, ma, 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 ma.
Look, I really think it's time for us to do something. This is all getting way out of hand.
What do you mean? The song is sweet.
You're listening to House of Cards. Check out our website at houseofcardsradio.com.
Welcome back to House of Cards. Dave Weishaupt with you here. You know, here at the show, we get a lot of interesting books written by a lot of interesting people. For me, this is one of the more fascinating books I've read. The writer is Simon Chokwisky, and the book is Gambler's Dharma, Sports Betting with Vedic Astrology. And we are lucky enough to have Simon on the phone with us right now. Simon, thanks for coming on.
Thank you for having me. Appreciate it.
Oh, great. Our pleasure. Just for some background for people out there who are not familiar with it, what is Vedic astrology?
Well, it's just what it sounds like. It's a type of astrology that's mainly practiced in India, and typically it was just for the kings and queens in the old days to help them figure out when is the best time to go into battle, when is the best time to get married. And, one unique thing we as gamblers understand is that timing is very important. You know, you have good days, you have bad days, you have good weeks, good years, and bad years sometimes. And in the old days, people used to wonder, why does that happen? You know, why is it that sometimes someone who is much less skilled than I am can beat me, and on some days, you know, I can take on the world, whether it's at cards or whatever your pursuit. And so they figured out that there was some correlation between what's happening up in the heavens and whether you were having a good day or not. And so that's Vedic astrology. It's the astrology of ancient India that was used to time major events.
You touch on something that I want to ask you. You know, these techniques you say have been used for thousands of years and in every country of the world. Are you surprised that more people haven't used these techniques with regard to sports and betting?
Yes and no. So in the old days, any science like this or art or superstition, whatever you want to call it, it wouldn't survive until this day if it didn't have some usefulness, some effectiveness. So as I said, in the old days, both in the West and the East, every king, every important person, I should say, had a consultant. Just as today we have financial consultants, we have consultants, real estate agents. Well, there were astrologers. And so they would ask their astrologers, hey, when should I do this? Or is this a good person to be in business with? And if they were wrong, typically what happened was, especially if you're a king, you didn't fire them. You actually banished them. They were done. Their career was over. Or at worst case scenario, they got their head cut off. So if the stuff didn't work, astrology would have disappeared a long time ago. Now, the problem is that it's a complex science, and there are a lot of charlatans out there, and a lot of knuckleheads like me who, get it wrong and miss stuff, and but we still try our best. Mm-hmm. So I think I understand why it's not used today, because it's very difficult. And another thing is, in the old days, the best minds, like the best mathematicians, the most brilliant scientists, they were doing astrology, the Albert Einsteins of the world. Whereas today, there are many more things that brilliant minds can do. They can go into science. They can go into, building rockets and so on. So we've got more average minds doing astrology, and as a result, it's maybe gone down. Mm-hmm. And so that doesn't surprise me.
When you're talking about sports, what are some of the aspects of a game or a team that you look at when using astrology in sports betting?
A sport is a contest. It's a battle. It's a win or a loss. It's black and white. Well, sometimes there's a tie. And more fundamentally, a contest is a space-time event. That means it begins at a particular place at a particular time. And then it has a lifespan. It lasts an hour or two, or if it's baseball, it can last forever, theoretically. But and then typically it has an ending, just like a human being. So if astrology can be applied to a human being, which is we're also space-time events. We're born in a certain place in a certain time. We have a lifespan, and then, we expire. So it's the same thing. A sporting contest is just like a human being. And if it works for human beings to be able to tell you, hey, you're going to be successful, you're going to do well, or you're not, then it should work for telling us whether the home team or the favorite team should win. So it's just like a battle, except these days the battles happen on the gridiron more often than on the battlefield.
Hold that thought, and we'll be right back with more House of Cards right after this quick break. New Jersey's sports betting market has exploded, and there's so many places to bet it can make your head spin. But PointsBet.com is the one online sportsbook you can't afford to ignore. PointsBet.com has everything a person would want in a sportsbook. Spread betting, moneyline betting, prop bets, you name it, you'll find it at PointsBet. Daily promos that can't be beat, odds boosters you won't find anywhere else, early payout promos, it's all at PointsBet.com. You can bet from anywhere in New Jersey using your mobile device. And now there's even a better reason to sign up with PointsBet.com. Go to PointsBet.com and sign up using our promo code HOUSE, that's HOUSE, and you'll get 2 risk-free bets up to $1,000. PointsBet is the preferred sportsbook of superstars Allen Iverson and Darrelle Revis. They even have the Revis Betting Academy hosted by Darrelle Revis himself. So sign up today at PointsBet.com using our promo code HOUSE and start having some real fun. That's promo code HOUSE, HOUSE. PointsBet. Stay sharp. Must be 21 years or older and in New Jersey to place a bet. Terms and conditions apply. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER.
Some houses are born bad.
You're listening to the House of Cards.
I never dreamed that any mere physical experience could be so stimulating.
Welcome back to House of Cards. Dave Weishottle with you here. For those of you just joining us, we are talking with Simon Chalkwisky, who has written a very interesting book called Gambler's Dharma, Sports Betting with Vedic Astrology. What's intriguing about the book is how you bring the reader along during the process of creating a chart for a particular team or game. And at the start of this process is something called Dharma or Dharma types. What is that, and why is that so important when creating your charts?
Well, and I hate to get philosophical here, but Dharma is your right path. It's your purpose in life. It's your calling. And if it's not your calling to be a speculator, to be a gambler, to be in this field, then my contention is no matter how good you get at techniques, no matter how much you study, it's not really the right thing for you. And you should know that before you get into it. My mentor taught me that the astrologer's job is to put themselves out of business. That means that you take a client and you teach them, you help them find their purpose in life. You help them find their calling. And when you do that, then they don't need you anymore. Your job is done, right? And I've said this before, where I think that's also a doctor's job, traditionally, to take a client, teach them good health, how to eat, how to take care of their body, so that they don't need the doctor anymore. That's a utopian kind of world. But when it comes to gambling, I'm sure you've seen people like this who are well-intentioned, they study, but they're just not, somehow it's not for them. Mm-hmm. And this goes for everything. For boxing, people try to be boxers, but they're just not. And so my job, first of all, is to find out, is speculation right for you? Is it in the stars for you, if you will? Does that make sense?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. So,
and we start from there. And some people from very early on, they know that's their path, and that's great. And then my job is to help them get better, to help them find the better times to go to the casino, the better times to enter that tournament. But we know that they're in alignment. Mm-hmm. And so that's what that chapter is about.
Yeah, and another term you use when analyzing a game is something called victory houses. Now, how does the idea of victory houses relate to your analysis?
So in astrology, there's something called houses of the horoscope. There are 12 houses, and each team gets 6 houses that are good for victory, and another 6 that are not good. So it's very simple. when the planets are in the house, in the victory, what I call the victory houses, that's my term, by the way, for one team, and they're not, and by extension, they're not for the other team, then it shows which team is stronger. It's pretty straightforward.
By the way, it's a great term because when I saw victory houses, okay, I need to know this if I'm going to win at sports betting using astrology. I see the word victory and I'm attracted to it.
Well, I got to tell you, I appreciate you saying that because when I took this on, my wife and everybody said, who are you writing this book for? There's only so many astrologers and there's only so many people who bet, and you're writing it for these niches. And I said, you know what? There's something in my heart that's just driving me to do this, and so there it is. So I'm very heartened that you're taking this to heart yourself.
Oh, absolutely. It's one of those things. It's ancient wisdom that's been around for so long, and it's been used around the world. And it's just, I'm surprised that more people aren't embracing this it's from our ancestors, really.
Well, I'll tell you, in the 60s, there was an astrologer in India. His name was Krishnamurti. And he got so good to where he had a line around his house like people were trying to buy an iPhone. Like people would camp out for 2 or 3 days, and the line would stretch around the neighborhood a couple of times. And part of the reason how he got so good was he would play cards. And he would test his techniques by playing cards, and he'd see which times, and he was a decent card player, but, he wasn't the best. And he would play during times that were good for him, and then he would have his son, so he'd calculate this beforehand, and he'd have his son call him as soon as time turned bad to give him an excuse to leave the table. I know that's a crummy thing to do, but, he was testing this. And so, like at 12:31, his son would call and he'd say, "Oh, sorry guys, I got to take my chips and take off." And he got so good that people wouldn't play with him anymore. So he had to start losing on purpose. And this is a true story, by the way. This is, you can verify this yourself. His name was Krishnamurti, and he developed a system to where he could time even down to the hour, which period is favorable for you, which period isn't. And I'm not as good as I study his system and I try to follow along, but there are brilliant people like that who have got this stuff down really to a science. I'm surprised too, but also it's very difficult. Like I said, it was only the best minds in the old days who would do this stuff, and these days, not so much.
We understand the terms Dharma types, and we get the concept of victory houses. As I said, it's a process. What is your next step when trying to determine the outcome of a game using Vedic astrology?
Yeah, that's a good question. So in the book, there are a total of 9 techniques. And so the victory houses is one technique, and that's how I first sort of got into it. But the victory houses move very slowly. So basically any game that starts within an hour or so is going to have the same configuration. And so the victory house technique was working a lot, but it was also not working some of the time. And I thought, why isn't it working? And so there are more discrete techniques that depend on an exact start time. And when I gave predictions last week, I noted that if this game starts within a couple of minutes of when it's supposed to, then we expect this outcome. And the more I did this, the more I found that even seconds can make a difference. And so timing, again, back to this idea that timing is everything. And if you begin playing, or if a game begins at a certain time, a certain outcome is expected. But if it begins a minute later, that outcome could be 180. It can be totally different. It could be for the other team.
How much of a change?
So I figured out some techniques to figure that out.
How much of a change in time is if it happens within an hour, it's pretty much the same, or can it be changed from minute to minute, or how is that determined?
Honestly, it's from minute to minute. And as I mentioned earlier, the most recent example of this was a Cleveland-New York game, baseball, last game of their series, where, in my opinion, if that game had started 1 minute earlier, So if you're the manager and you know that you're supposed to start within this time, that Cleveland would have won, not New York. And by the way, this isn't, I know this sounds crazy and radical, but we spent 8 years under the Reagan administration having his astrologer time absolutely every meeting, every, airplane takeoff and landing according to this principle. And his assistant even had a stopwatch, and he cued Reagan when it was time to begin a press conference, when it was time to begin a meeting. And his whole presidency ran according to this principle. So a very conservative man, but yet someone who understood, or at least went along with, this principle that to everything, if you want to succeed at something, starting at the right time really gives you a leg up.
It's amazing.
So sometimes it's even minutes and seconds.
Hold that thought, and we'll be right back with more House of Cards right after this quick break. New Jersey's sports betting market has exploded, and there's so many places to bet it can make your head spin. But PointsBet.com is the one online sportsbook you can't afford to ignore. PointsBet.com has everything a person would want in a sportsbook. Spread betting, moneyline betting, prop bets, you name it, you'll find it at PointsBet. Daily promos that can't be beat, odds boosters you won't find anywhere else, early payout promos, it's all at PointsBet.com. You can bet from anywhere in New Jersey using your mobile device. And now there's even a better reason to sign up with PointsBet.com. Go to PointsBet.com and sign up using our promo code HOUSE, that's HOUSE, and you'll get 2 risk-free bets up to $1,000. PointsBet is the preferred sportsbook of superstars Allen Iverson and Darrelle Revis. They even have the Revis Betting Academy hosted by Darrelle Revis himself. So sign up today at PointsBet.com using our promo code HOUSE and start having some real fun. That's promo code HOUSE, HOUSE. PointsBet. Stay sharp. Must be 21 years or older and in New Jersey to place a bet. Terms and conditions apply. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. Hey, this is Dave Weishuttle from House of Cards with your House of Cards gaming report for the week of June 24th, 2019. For the 12th straight month, casino revenues in Atlantic City are up. According to the state's Division of Gaming Enforcement, the 9 casinos generated $266.76 million in total revenue, which is an increase of over 22% from this time last year. Revenue has increased every month since the opening of the Hard Rock and Ocean Casino and the start of sports betting in the state. For the first time in 5 years, the Pennsylvania Gaming Control Board approved plans for a new casino. The new license was awarded to Penn National Gaming, which will build a Hollywood casino in Morgantown. The new casino could open as early as late 2020 and will be the first mini casino in the state with 30 table games, 750 slot machines, and a sports book. And finally, it looks like Dallas Cowboy owner Jerry Jones is getting into the casino business. Jones announced plans to build a casino in Arkansas. The proposed casino will be located on a 135-acre piece of land in Russellville. Jones has spent much of his life in the state and attended the University of Arkansas. It'll be interesting to see what the NFL says about his new plans. Have any news or tips regarding casinos, gaming, or legislation? Send us an email at newsroom@houseofcardsradio.com and follow us on Twitter at HOC Radio.
You're listening to the House of Cards.
Well, don't take it too hard. I've done a lot of stupid things in my life, too.
Stupid? What do you mean, stupid?
Welcome back to House of Cards. Dave Weishuttle with you here. For those of you just joining us, we are talking with Simon Chalkwisky, who has written a very interesting book called Gambler's Dharma, Sports Betting with Vedic Astrology. It's amazing how precise that is when you're talking about time, how 1 minute can change an outcome of something so important.
Well, and it's hard to believe because you'll never know, right? Yeah. You'll never know if it's if what the other outcome would have been, except that I've tracked games that have begun at very similar times, maybe a minute apart, and the chart is just different by a minute, and the outcome is the opposite. So I actually have, I have thousands of charts that I've looked at, and I have that data. And this speaks to the question of when most scientists think about astrology and they debunk it, they go, well, look at twins. Sometimes twins lead radically different lives, but they were born just minutes apart. And it's true. They're right. And so sometimes minutes can make a difference, and sometimes twins lead very similar lives. Mm-hmm. And in that case, it didn't make a difference. Mm-hmm.
I guess connected with time is also the location of a sporting event. How much emphasis do you put on the home team versus the visitor when you're creating your chart?
Right. Well, it's 10:45 where I am, and it's before noon. But if you were in Tokyo, it would be night, right? So location is very much linked with time, and as Einstein taught us, space and time are really the same thing, and that's why we call it space-time. So location and time are the two components that are the most important. So yes, absolutely, you need an accurate location for a correct horoscope and an accurate start time.
We talked about this with regard to location. We do another show, Turnpike Sports, and you gave some amazing predictions. I benefited from one of your predictions, by the way. Thank you, Seattle, and thank you, Simon.
Awesome, Dave. That's great.
Yeah, there you go. But when you talk about location, and we talked at another time, you mentioned individual players will perform differently depending on when and where they play. And this led us to be thinking, would it be beneficial for an athlete or a team to consult an astrologer before he signs with a particular team? Do you know of any athletes who actually consulted with astrologers before joining a team?
That is a great question. No, I personally don't. I work with, I don't work with the kings and queens in the world typically, although I've seen a couple of Hollywood, celebrities and whatnot, but typically I work with mom and pop clients. But in my opinion, the $100 or whatever you spend to consult with an astrologer before making a multi-million-dollar move or trade is worth it. It's well worth it because yes, different locations will affect you. So I think even in playing cards, if you go to a tournament in Vegas and you do well, you may go to a tournament in Jersey or somewhere else and just stink up the room. And part of that could be related to, it may not be, but it's possible that it's related to the fact that in Jersey, you just have bad lines. You've got bad stuff going on there, bad juju for you, so that you don't do as well. And we can identify that.
Oh, great. I'm in Jersey. I feel terrible now.
No. Individuals. So
I know.
You get it. By the way, anyone can do this for themselves. There's a site you can go to. I don't know if it's okay to refer. It's not my site. This is a general site, so it's not a plug. It's a site called astro.com. You go to free horoscopes, and then you click on AstroClick Travel. Because typically we use this to figure out where people can travel and have a good time and where, areas they should avoid. Click on that, enter your data, and then you'll see all of your lines across the globe. And then anywhere you click, it'll interpret it for you, and it'll tell you, hey, this place is great for business, this place is great for relationships. Uh-huh. Like, just a really quick example, I have a client, or I had a client, and her Venus line went through Portland, Maine. And I said, look, Portland, Maine is great for love for you. And she started laughing. I said, why are you laughing? She said, my husband's from Portland, Maine.
Wow.
And she had never been there. But her husband, love, had come to her from Portland, Maine. And likewise, where you have a Jupiter line is where you're lucky. So when it comes to gambling, you want to look to where your Jupiter line is. Mm-hmm. And so when you find that, go to those places, try it out, see what happens. I've done it. For me, it's through Puerto Rico. And years ago, when I landed in Puerto Rico, I didn't speak Spanish, nothing. And this is a true story. I was on the street corner, and I didn't have any car or anything. There was this guy on a motorcycle. I tapped him on the shoulder. It was a red light. I said, how much you want for that bike? He said, $800. I pulled it out, paid him. He got off the bike, gave me his helmet, and gave me the little thing, the registration. I got on the bike. By the time the light turned green, I was off.
Wow.
And stuff like that happened for me over there like crazy. Like I would knock on a door and people would say, come in, we've been waiting for you. We need, I was a physical trainer at the time. We need somebody to help us run the gym. Intercontinental Hotel, I became the manager. Like that.
Wow, boy.
So where your Jupiter line is where you tend to be lucky. And you can find that. It's very easy. It's not difficult. Any of your listeners can find it.
Oh, wow. That's amazing story. I never read a book like the one you've written, Gambler's Dharma, Sports Betting with Vedic Astrology, and that uses astrology and its technique for sports betting. I gotta ask you, has this book been well received in the astrology world? Have there been astrologers saying, hey, you shouldn't be using our techniques for gambling purposes, or has it been well received within the industry?
There's a small percentage of astrologers who are a little bit above it all and a little bit high and mighty. And actually I understand where they're coming from, because this is a spiritual science. It's meant to empower people, right? And they have this association that speculation is somehow disempowering. And like I said at the beginning, it can be. If it's not your calling, it can be. You can lose your house, in your mortgage. But it's also gotten some great reviews from some professional astrology magazines. So yes, generally speaking, it's been well received.
Well, we're running out of time, and I want to thank you, Simon, for coming on and discussing this very interesting book you've written. The name of the book is Gambler's Dharma, Sports Betting with Vedic Astrology by Simon Chalkwisky. And check out his website at spirittype.com. Simon, thanks for coming on.
It's been my pleasure, guys. Take care.
Stick around. We'll be right back with more House of Cards. We'll get back to the show in a few moments, but I just wanted to take some time and tell everyone about Bean Genius, the smart specialty coffee subscription service. Bean Genius sells freshly roasted coffee from some of the best independent coffee roasters in the country. They feature over 2,000 specialty coffee blends, all at your fingertips at BeanGenius.com. Here's how it works. Head on over to BeanGenius.com and take their palate profiler test to find out what coffee best fits your taste. Then select from a variety of subscription plans. Every subscription comes with free shipping, and delivery can even be scheduled for once or twice each month. And based upon your review of each coffee blend you try, Bean Genius actually learns your individual taste preferences and then suggests future coffee blends for you. And now you can get 10% off your Bean Genius subscription when you use our promo code PIKE at checkout. Bean Genius offers a variety of subscription plans to suit any coffee lover's needs. Subscribe with Bean Genius today and start enjoying some of the best tasting coffee around. And save 10% off your coffee plan with promo code PIKE.
This is House of Cards Radio with Ashley Adams.
Everybody is to leave here immediately. This cafe is closed until further notice. Clear the room at once.
How can you close me up? On what ground?
I'm shocked to find that gambling is going on in here.
You're winning, sir.
Oh, thank you very much. Everybody out at once.
Welcome back, listeners. This is Ashley Adams. You're listening to House of Cards. We now have my favorite segment on the show, which is our mailbag segment, where we take questions from listeners.
We got a letter from Kimberly from Reading, Pennsylvania. She writes, now that Donald Trump has been elected president, does that mean good things for the gambling industry or bad? I know he didn't do too well running his casinos in Atlantic City.
I think he has been pretty closely aligned with Sheldon Adelson, who is a vicious opponent of online gambling.
Oh, he hates it.
Yeah, because he has his land casinos and doesn't want competition. Time will tell. I'm not celebrating, even if I were inclined to celebrate Donald Trump for other political reasons, I would not be celebrating as somebody looking forward to going back and playing poker online outside of Nevada and New Jersey and Delaware.
Well, did you hear the 10 attorneys general sent a memorandum to Mike Pence and the incoming administration wanting a reaffirmation of the Wire Act, saying it does apply to online gaming and wants all online gaming banned.
So I'm hoping that Trump will heed the majority and say the Wire Act does not apply to poker. But I suspect that his own biases in that department will lead him to try to reintroduce the Wire Act as applying to online gaming and poker.
So do you think his, I don't want to call it a failed casino experience in Atlantic City, do you think that will drive Trump toward getting rid of online gaming, or what do you think?
I don't think.
I know she made a comment about that.
Yeah, I don't think the fact that he failed in the long run when it came to casinos in New Jersey will have any play in whether he's opposed to online gaming. I think he's opposed to online gaming, and his moneyed interests are opposed to it, and he will be. But you know what? More than any president I've ever seen ascend to office, he is a wild card. We don't know. We don't know if the things that he stated he will change. We don't think if the things that he hasn't stated he will come out in favor or against. So I have no idea. He could come out tomorrow and say he champions online gaming. He and Barney Frank have formed a coalition to allow online poker. But it wouldn't surprise me, and I would be more surprised if he did that than if he came out and said, I am opposed to online gaming as a pernicious, terrible institution, and we should put all of our gambling dollars in brick-and-mortar casinos.
Okay, on a related note, I want to get your opinion on this one. News just came out in New Jersey that a group of organizers in Atlantic City want to create a Trump museum for his experience in Atlantic City to drive tourism dollars to Atlantic City. Do you think that will work at all? I saw that, David, I was like, wow, that's crazy.
I don't think... I have no idea.
Yeah.
I don't think people would be interested in a historic look back at Trump's relationship with casinos in New Jersey. I mean, the interest that the public had was in gambling in his places. The fact that he no longer is in charge of casinos down there, and there's some historic interest. I don't think there's enough interest to warrant a museum.
We'll be right back with more House of Cards right after this quick break. House of Cards is brought to you by Drizzly, your online liquor store. Available in over 95 cities across North America, Drizzly offers a huge selection and competitive pricing with a side of personalized content. Now there's no need to leave the house. Get alcohol delivered in less than an hour by Drizzly. Head on over to drizzly.com and order today. And now get $5 off your first order of $20 or more when using promo code DRINK19 at checkout. Shop beer, wine, and liquor with drizzly.com.
Yeah, you, come here. Haven't you heard? We don't need to hide anymore.
Now, we can shop privately for adult products at adamandeve.com. They've got massage oils, lingerie, and lots more we can't mention here. Use offer code SPICE404. They'll give you 50% off almost any one item, 3 free DVDs, free mystery gift, and free shipping. That's 50% off, free shipping, and more. Private shopping starts at adamandeve.com.
You're listening to the House of Cards. Join us online at houseofcardsradio.com.
Because a house always wins. Play long enough, you never change the stakes, the house takes you. Unless, when that perfect hand comes along, you bet big, and then you take the house.
Been practicing this speech, haven't you?
A little bit. Did I rush it? Felt like I rushed.
That was good. I liked it.
Hey, listeners, welcome back. This is Ashley Adams. You're listening to House of Cards. This is my favorite segment, as I am fond of saying, because it's true, when I am joined by my handsome producer, Dave Weishattle, and he is handsome.
Well, thank you very much.
And I wanted to take a minute to talk about MyPillow. Sleeping well, I've found, contributes to playing poker well. And I can tell you that this pillow, MyPillow, which I've been using, has helped me sleep longer and more deeply. And now MyPillow is offering a 4-for-1 deal. You can get 2 MyPillow premiums and 2 Go Anywhere travel pillows, all for the price of 1 MyPillow. Go to MyPillow.com or call 800-319-7913. Click on or mention Radio Listener Special and use promo code CARDS, C-A-R-D-S, at checkout.
So what do we have? What do we have this week for mailbag?
Well, just a reminder, if you have a question for our mailbag, you can email the show at info@houseofcardsradio.com, tweet us at HOCRadio, post a question on our Facebook page, or leave a message or text on the House of Cards hotline. That's 609-474-HOCR, 609-474-4627. And if we use your question on the air, you'll receive a BorgataPoker.com baseball hat. BorgataCasino.com and BorgataPoker.com. Game online anywhere and anytime in New Jersey.
You want that number again, I'm sure. It's 609
474
4627. That's right. Okay, Dave, what do we got?
We have a question from JP from Andover, who you told me submitted a question before.
That's Andover, Massachusetts. Yes,
yeah,
he got a hat, and in fact, I know this guy.
Which hat did he get? The Poker Stars
the Poker
or
Stars
the
hat, I think. But he's owed another one, right? You get a successful question read on the air.
Yes, absolutely.
You get a hat.
Absolutely.
All right.
Oh, he's going to get a hat and a shirt.
Oh, wowie. Does he get a House of Cards shirt?
Yeah.
Those are nice shirts.
Yeah, they're beautiful shirts.
What do we have?
He writes, he wrote a long one, so we kind of boiled it down. It kind of dealt with etiquette at the poker table. Can a player at a poker table that is not in a hand request that the order of a showdown order be respected?
Well,
and there was a lot more, so we had to boil that one down.
The answer is that a player at a table, whether he's in the hand or not, every player who's at the table is in the hand.
Okay.
Because they were dealt a hand. They may not be in the showdown. So I think his question may be, if you're not in the showdown, can you say, wait a second, he should be showing down first? And the answer is, yeah, you can say that. And the floor ultimately may or may not consider what you're saying. But the fact that you put it under the category of etiquette, I'll tell you what I do.
Okay.
Maybe I'm not the perfect exemplar of poker etiquette, but I am the best exemplar that I know because I'm me. I always remain silent. If I am not in a showdown and there is a showdown and there is a question of who shows down first or how they show down or all that stuff, I always shut my mouth because I don't want to incur anybody's wrath unnecessarily. And if I take sides, even if I'm right, ultimately, who the hell cares who shows down first? It doesn't affect me one iota. And for me to weigh in as a rule expert will only inflame the situation by pissing off one of the two parties. So I remain silent. And I encourage others, if they're not involved in the hand, to remain silent. The only exception is if there's a hand that is tabled, which is the winning hand, and the pot is being awarded to somebody else, I have an obligation to point out to the dealer that he is awarding the hand to the wrong player, or if he's dividing the pot incorrectly. I have an obligation to point out the correct hand or the correct split if it's not being done correctly. But as far as who shows down first, who the hell cares, first of all, really? And second, I will leave it to them and the dealer to work it out, and I will sit and let them fight it out and not say anything.
Well, who makes that decision? The dealer, or does the manager come over and make a...
like any other rules decision, it's made by the dealer, and then if somebody objects, you can call the floor over to adjudicate. Hopefully it doesn't go that far, though sometimes it may. So I think it's total waste of time. But I appreciate JP asking the question, and I'd be interested in knowing, and maybe he can email in his own experience, what happened and why he's asking it. Was there people spend way too much time worrying about whether they are showing that. Just show your damn cards.
Yeah.
That's how I always feel. Show your damn cards. Nobody cares that you had a lousy hand and shouldn't have been in the pot in the first place. Nobody cares. And they're going to forget about it the next hand. So I always encourage.
I'll tell JP to go one better. Give us a call on our hotline.
And tell us the story.
Message. Tell us the story.
And we'll play it, JP.
And we'll play it. We'll play it. Your voice will be across the country.
Hey, it will be across the world.
You
will be famous worldwide. All right. Well, that'll do it.
All right.
And listeners, until next week, good luck and good day.
Build a house of cards around a loveless heart.